Listen carefully because I'm not going to repeat myself. Most of you are operating with mental software that hasn't been updated since high school. In this video, my intention is to jolt you out of that intellectual inertia and force you to confront the very foundations of your own ignorance. Success isn't an accident that happens to lucky people. It's the byproduct of a mind trained to recognize patterns where others see only chaos. If you think you can navigate the complexities of modern economics armed only with superficial opinions and a few motivational phrases, you're destined to be someone else's meal. Rationality isn't an accessory. It's the most important survival tool we possess. And in the following paragraphs, I'm going to teach you how to sharpen it until it cuts through noise like a diamond. Notice what I'm trying to convey about the nature of knowledge. It's not about accumulating data like a bored librarian, but about building a network of mental models that intersect and reinforce each other. In this video, you'll see that true wisdom lies in the ability to connect biology with investing, history with psychology, and physics with business management. If you only know one area, you're vulnerable to the charlatans who dominate the other 99. I've spent nearly a century reading biographies and scientific treatises not for academic pleasure, but because I wanted to understand the rules of the game before putting my capital on the table. Humility is recognizing that the world is infinitely complex and that your current map is probably garbage that needs constant redrawing. Life has taught me that the first step to not being a fool is to stop lying to yourself, something most of you do before breakfast. In this video, I want you to understand that your worst enemy isn't the market or the competition, but your own cognitive biases. The human brain is designed to conserve energy, not to seek the truth, and that leads you to make decisions based on comfort rather than evidence. If you want extraordinary results, you must be willing to do the dirty work of questioning every one of your certainties. Intellectual honesty is painful because it requires admitting that much of what you think you know is wrong. But I prefer sharp pain now to a slow, shameful bankruptcy later from living in a fantasy. To understand the thinking presented here, you must accept that economics is a branch of applied psychology, and psychology is a branch of evolutionary biology. In this video, I will show you that you cannot understand a stock chart if you don't first understand why humans so desperately seek status and security. We are animals in expensive suits, but we still respond to the same impulses as our ancestors on the savannah. The real competitive advantage comes from knowing when those impulses are betraying us. Learn to separate your emotions from your financial decisions. If your heart races when you see a stock rise, you've already lost control. Coldness is not a lack of passion, it's an excess of discipline. The investment ecosystem and the reality of capital. Look, in this video I'm going to show you that investing isn't that frantic casino you see on TV, but rather an exercise in almost geological patience combined with lethal aggression at the opportune moment. Most investors fail because they feel the need to do something every day to justify their existence. It's rampant stupidity. True wealth is built by knowing when to do nothing, which is roughly 95% of the time. If you don't find an opportunity that screams in your face that it's an obvious bargain, then sit on your hands. I didn't get rich by buying hundreds of mediocre companies. I got rich by waiting years for a single excellent decision and then betting half my fortune on it with a conviction that bordered on stubbornness. It's crucial that you understand the concept of the perverse incentives that dominate the financial industry. In this video, you'll see how advisors and banks are designed to sell you movement, not results, because they earn commissions every time you trade. If you listen to someone whose salary depends on you buying something, you're already at a disadvantage. Never ask a barber if you need a haircut. The answer will always be yes. Learn to investigate the source of advice and analyze what they gain from your decision. Transparency regarding incentives is the most powerful filter you can use to avoid being scammed by people who seem very educated but whose interests are diametrically opposed to your own bottom line. I'll tell you something about macroeconomics that will probably infuriate academics. Most predictions about the future of the world are worthless noise. In this video, you'll learn that it's far more profitable to be an expert in the microeconomics of a specific business than a fortune teller of global GDP. If you understand why people buy a certain brand of candy or why a software company has an impregnable defensive moat, you have a solid foundation. Big macroeconomic forces are like the weather. You can see the storm coming, but you can't stop it. Instead, you can choose to build a house that can withstand any hurricane. Focus on what you can control and deeply understand, and leave the prophecies to those who enjoy wasting time in pointless debates. Let's talk about envy, that cancer that corrodes rational judgment faster than any other emotion. In this video, I'll show you that if you get bitter because someone else is getting rich off an absurd bubble, you've already started losing your edge. Envy serves no useful purpose in the investing process. It only pushes you to take unnecessary risks, to catch up with others. If you see an idiot making money with an idiotic idea, don't try to imitate them. Just wait for gravity to do its work. Discipline is about staying your course, even when it seems like the rest of the world is having more fun than you. At the end of the day, those who survive are the ones who respected their limits and their circle of competence. Multidisciplinary learning isn't optional, it's a requirement for operational excellence. In this video, I emphasize that you must read about physics to understand break-even points, about engineering to understand safety margins, and about history to grasp that nothing happening today is truly new. The world repeats itself in different guises, but the underlying mechanisms remain constant. If you only read financial news, you're consuming intellectual junk food. Feed your mind with the great classics and the hard sciences. This will give you a long-range perspective that most of your competitors, obsessed with the next quarter, simply cannot even imagine. The depth of your knowledge is your best defense against obsolescence. Finally, in this part of our discussion, I want you to remember that success requires a strange combination of boundless curiosity and brutal skepticism. In this video, I will teach you not to accept any brilliant idea without first trying to destroy it with all your might. If an idea survives your own attempt at intellectual assassination, then, and only then, does it deserve to be considered. Most people fall in love with their own theories and seek confirmation instead of truth. Don't be like that. Be the fiercest critics of your own thoughts. If you manage to be a little less foolish each year, the accumulation of that wisdom will take you to places you can't even dream of today. Rationality is a marathon, not a sprint, and I'm still running. Character as a defensive moat and operational ethics. Look, there's a truth most bright young people ignore. You can have an IQ of 180, but if your character is a sieve, you'll end up in misery. In this video, what I really want you to absorb is that reliability is the rarest and most valuable asset in the market. If you're the kind of person others can blindly trust, you've built a defensive moat around your career that no artificial intelligence can jump over. I've seen financial geniuses self-destruct because they couldn't control their ego or their libido. Integrity isn't a romantic notion for poets. It's first-rate operational efficiency. A system where everyone trusts everyone operates with minimal friction, and friction is what kills long-term profitability. Let's talk about envy, that cardinal sin I mentioned earlier, but which deserves a deeper analysis because it's the driving force behind human stupidity. In this video, observe how people go crazy when they see their neighbor, who is noticeably less intelligent, getting rich off a digital asset bubble or some other trendy nonsense. Envy has no reward. It's the only sin that makes you feel like a mangy dog without giving you a single second of pleasure. If you allow what someone else earns to dictate your strategy, you've already handed the wheel of your life to a stranger. My advice is simple. Ignore the noise, follow your own rational process, and understand that someone will always get rich faster than you. That's not a problem. It's a statistic. Most people operate under what I call the hammer of specialization. They study one thing and then try to fit all of reality into that narrow hole. In this video, I urge you to be collectors of big ideas from all disciplines. If you don't have a grid of mental models in your head, you're at the mercy of experts who only see one dimension of the problem. You need to understand the psychology of persuasion, the principles of thermodynamics, and the laws of natural selection. Only when these ideas collide in your brain can you see the Lollapalooza effects, where 3 or 4 forces act in the same direction to create an extreme outcome. If you don't see that clash of forces coming, reality will run you over like a freight train. There's a nasty tendency toward complacency when things are going well. In this video, I'll show you that the time to be most skeptical is precisely when everyone else is celebrating. Arrogance is the natural precursor to catastrophe. In Berkshire, we've survived decades not because we're fortune tellers, but because we always maintain a ridiculously large safety margin. We don't operate at the limit of our capabilities. We leave room for error, bad luck, and other people's stupidity. If you design a bridge to hold exactly the weight of one truck, you're a criminal. If you design it to hold 10 times that weight, you're a sensible engineer. Apply that same logic to your finances and your time. The psychology of misjudgment in the marketplace. I want you to understand the power of confirmation bias, that insidious tendency of the mind to filter out only what confirms our existing beliefs. In this video, you'll see that I spend a significant amount of time trying to prove myself wrong. If I have an investment thesis, I actively seek out the most intelligent person who thinks the opposite and try to understand their argument better than they do. Only when I can demolish my own idea more effectively than my critics do, I feel entitled to have an opinion. Most of you seek pats on the back and validation on social media. That's poison for rational thought. Seek the truth, even if it breaks your heart or deflates your ego. Another deadly trap is social proof. We're herd animals. If we see everyone running toward a cliff, our instinct tells us to run. In this video, I'll show you that mental independence is the hardest trait to cultivate, but the most profitable to possess. To be a great investor, you must be comfortable looking like a fool in front of your friends for 5 years straight. If you need the approval of others to feel confident in your analysis, the market will fleece you at the first correction. Intellectual solitude is the price you pay for financial freedom. Don't seek consensus. Seek the rational anomaly where price and value have become completely divorced. Let's talk about the sunk cost fallacy. I've seen companies and individuals throw away millions of dollars on a bad idea simply because they'd already spent so much on it. In this video, learn how to cut your losses with the coldness of an executioner. Reality doesn't care how much time or money you've invested in a mistake. The mistake is still a mistake. The ability to say, "This isn't working. Let's try something else," is what separates the survivors from the martyrs of stupidity. Don't get married to your investments or your ideas. Treat them like tools to be discarded when they lose their edge. The past is gone. The only thing that matters is the expected return on the next dollar and the next minute of your life. Continuous learning isn't about boosting your resume. It's a matter of biological survival in a capitalist system. In this video, I tell you that if you're not a little more informed today than you were yesterday, you're falling behind. The world is a dynamic system where entropy is always working to destroy what isn't renewed. Read biographies, read about engineering failures, read about behavioral psychology. Compound knowledge works exactly like compound interest. At first, it seems like nothing's amiss, but after 40 years, the difference between the one who read and the one who didn't is the difference between an emperor and an intellectual pauper. It's vital to understand agents' incentives. When someone gives you financial or political advice, as in this video, ask yourself, what does this person gain if I believe them? Most people aren't bad, but they're incredibly good at rationalizing behaviors that benefit them financially. A surgeon will always see a reason to operate, and a fund salesperson will always see a reason for you to invest with them. It's not malice, it's human nature. If you don't understand how incentives shape other people's opinions, you'll be puppets in a theater you don't understand. Learn to discount incentive bias before processing any external information. To close this section, I want you to reflect on simplicity. People think that to be intelligent, you have to use long words and complex formulas. At Berkshire, we've made billions using fourth-grade arithmetic and common sense. If you can't explain an investment to a 10-year-old in a way they understand why it will make money, then you don't understand it. Complexity is often a refuge for charlatans who want to hide the fact that they have no idea what they're talking about. Look for the essence, look for the obvious, and ignore anything that requires a PhD in physics to justify. The obvious is where the real money is. The concentration of capital and the value of time. One of the biggest fallacies taught in economic schools is excessive diversification. In this video, I'll tell you that if you know what you're doing, diversification is a safeguard against ignorance. If you find 3 brilliant businesses in your entire life, that's more than enough to make you immensely wealthy. The problem is that most people want to be in everything and end up with a portfolio full of mediocrity that barely performs as well as a boring index fund. We at Berkshire Hathaway don't buy 50 things half-heartedly. We wait years for a free-for-all opportunity and then swing with everything we've got. Focusing on what you truly understand is the only way to achieve returns that will leave the rest of the world speechless. Let's talk about your most valuable asset. And it's not the money in the bank, but the hours you have left in your life. In this video, I want you to look at my calendar. It's almost empty. I don't spend my days in committee meetings where 10 smart people cancel each other out to arrive at some stupid consensus decision. I spend my time reading and thinking. Most of you are running around trying to look important, but real importance comes from the quality of your thoughts, not the quantity of your commitments. If you don't own your time, you're a slave with a high salary. Learn to say no to almost everything, so you can say a resounding yes to the few things that are truly worthwhile. Reading is the fuel of rationality, but don't read garbage. In this video, I urge you to seek out immutable principles. If you read today's newspaper, tomorrow it will be fish wrapper. If you read Adam Smith or Darwin, you will have knowledge that will serve you for the next 50 years. Cumulative knowledge is like compound interest. At first, it seems like you're not making any progress, but after decades of daily reading, you have an unfair advantage over anyone who gets their information from 30-second clips. I don't know a single wise person who doesn't read all the time. If you think you're so intelligent that you don't need to learn from the mistakes and successes of those who came before you, you're doomed to an arrogance that will cost you dearly. There's a deadly trap called the endowment effect. In this video, you'll see that we humans tend to value something more simply because we already own it. This applies to stocks, ideas, and toxic relationships. If you wouldn't buy that stock today at the current price, why on earth are you still holding on to it? The inability to detach from what you own clouds rational judgment. You must be able to look at your own portfolio and your own life each morning as if you were a stranger who just arrived. If something doesn't make sense today, get rid of it. Loyalty to a mistake is the fastest path to financial and emotional ruin. The circle of competence and intellectual humility. Define your circle of competence, and don't dare step outside of it unless you're prepared to pay the price of ignorance. In this video, I'll show you that you don't need to be an expert in everything. You just need to know where your knowledge ends. I know nothing about advanced biotechnology or cutting-edge microchips, and that's why I don't invest a penny in them. I don't care how much money others make in those sectors. I'd rather be an expert in insurance and candy than a tech amateur. The greatest danger isn't what you don't know, but what you think you know, but don't actually understand. Know your limits, and you'll save yourself from most of the disasters that bring down the geniuses of Wall Street. Intellectual humility isn't false modesty, it's calculating probabilities. In this video, notice that I always talk about what could go wrong. If you can't imagine the scenario where your idea fails spectacularly, you haven't thought it through enough. The arrogance of believing the market will bend to your will is a form of madness. The market is a manic depressive who doesn't know you exist. Your job is to observe its madness and capitalize on it, not try to predict its whims. Keep your head down, work on your models, and let time reveal who was right. Those who shout the loudest are usually the ones with the emptiest wallets. Let's talk about reciprocity, a psychological concept that's fundamental to business. In this video, you'll see that if you treat people fairly and give them more than they expect, they'll tend to reciprocate. It's not about charity. It's about building an ecosystem where people want you to succeed. I've seen miserly men squeeze every last penny out of their suppliers and employees, only to find no one helping them when a crisis hits. Smart generosity is a long-term survival strategy. Build relationships based on mutual trust, and you'll see the transaction costs in your life almost disappear. Avoid group meetings for making important decisions. In this video, I'll tell you that intelligence doesn't add up in a boardroom. It often subtracts. Social pressure and the desire to avoid looking bad in front of the boss make people say things they don't believe. The best decisions at Berkshire Hathaway have been made by Warren and me talking on the phone or sitting in an office without outside interference. If you need a committee to decide what to buy, you lack real conviction. Trust your own rational analysis and have the courage to act alone. Democracy is an excellent system for government, but it's a recipe for disaster in investment management. The importance of control systems cannot be overstated. In this video, learn that even good people can do terrible things if the incentive system allows it or pushes them to. Don't blindly trust human nature. Trust systems that reward honesty and punish deception automatically. If you design a system where a man can earn $1 million by lying without getting caught, I guarantee he will lie. In Berkshire, we try to eliminate these structural temptations. The best way to prevent evil is to not give it any opportunity to flourish. Be architects of your environment, not victims of it. To conclude this section, consider envy once more, because its destructive nature can never be overstated. In this video, I ask you to look around. Most modern unhappiness stems from comparing yourself to a filtered, false version of others. If you consistently earn 10% annually, but your neighbor earns 50% in a lucky year, be happy for them and stick to your plan. If you try to catch up, you'll start playing a game you don't understand and lose everything. Success is a race against yourself, not against the rest of humanity. If you can master your impulses to compare, you're already richer than 90% of the world's population. Legacy, old age, and final rectitude. I'm often looked at like a still-breathing museum piece, with people wondering why I'm still reading annual reports at 99 instead of relaxing on a beach. In this video, the answer is obvious if you have eyes to see. Learning isn't a phase of life, it is life itself. If you stop exercising your grid of mental models, your brain will become a swamp of biases and outdated memories. Intellectual retirement is the precursor to physical death. My legacy isn't the money Warren and I have accumulated, but rather proving that a person can succeed by being rational, honest, and staying within their circle of competence for 8 consecutive decades. Let's talk about extreme objectivity, a discipline you must practice until it hurts. In this video, I urge you to be the executioners of your own most cherished ideas. If you discover that one of your certainties is false, celebrate it as if you've found a treasure, because you've just eliminated an error that was going to cost you money or trouble in the future. Most people die protecting their mistakes out of sheer pride. I prefer to destroy my mistakes before they destroy me. The ability to change your mind in the face of evidence is the mark of a superior mind. Don't be guard dogs of your own opinions. Be scientists seeking the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be for your ego. There is a profound satisfaction in building systems that work. In this video, you'll see that Berkshire Hathaway is not just an investment company. It's a structure designed to withstand human folly. We've created an environment where trust is the lubricant and rationality is the engine. If you can build a life or a family based on those same principles, you've won the game. Don't seek the approval of the masses. Seek the approval of the few people you respect who are wiser than you. If, at the end of the road, those people appreciate you, you've done well. Everything else, the awards and the magazine covers, is cheap vanity that doesn't buy an ounce of peace of mind. I want you to think about thought reversal one more time before we finish. If you want a happy life, don't chase after happiness. Look for what makes people miserable: envy, resentment, unreliability, drug use, self-pity, and avoid those things with religious zeal. It's much easier to avoid bad than to blindly pursue good. In this video, my message is one of elimination. Cleanse your life of stupid behaviors, and what remains will, by definition, be quite decent. The simplicity of this approach is what makes it so powerful, even though most experts ignore it because they can't charge high fees for such straightforward advice. The final wisdom, conclusion of a rational life. Looking back, I realize that my greatest competitive advantage hasn't been my IQ, but my unflappable temperament. In this video, I'll show you that you can be a math whiz, but if you panic when the market drops 20%, you're a burden to yourself. Emotional control is the foundation of all prosperity. Don't let fluctuations in public opinion or stock prices dictate your pulse. If your emotional stability depends on external factors, you're a slave to luck. Build your inner fortress on reason, and then you'll see that economic storms are simply opportunities to buy cheaply what the hysterical are throwing out the window. The economy is, ultimately, a reflection of human behavior under pressure. In this video, I always come back to the basics. Does this system encourage value creation, or is it just a redistribution of wealth from the fools to the shrewd? Avoid the latter. The systems that endure are those that offer real, honest utility. Don't be seduced by financial engineering that looks like magic. Magic in finance usually ends in fraud. Look for businesses that an idiot can run, because sooner or later an idiot will run it. If the business model is sound and the moat is deep, occasional human stupidity won't be able to destroy it. Envy is the most pointless sin in the human catalog, and in this video, I urge you to tear it from your hearts with a hot iron if necessary. Comparing yourself to others is a recipe for intellectual disaster. If someone earns money faster than you through dubious methods, let them. Their success doesn't invalidate your rational process. Discipline consists of sitting in your own corner of the world, cultivating your own garden, and letting compound interest do the heavy lifting. If you can master your impulses to compare, you're already richer than any billionaire obsessed with what their rival in the next-door mansion has. For those looking for a summary of my philosophy of life, it boils down to this: be reliable, be curious, be rational, and be patient. There are no tricks. In this video, I've shown you that the world rewards those who prepare for opportunity before it arises. Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity, but you must focus solely on preparation. Spend less than you earn, read more than you speak, and keep your circle of competence well defined. The rest is just background noise designed to distract the weak-minded. My time on this stage is coming to an end, but the principles we've discussed are immutable. Gravity won't stop working tomorrow, and incentives will continue to guide people toward virtue or ruin. In this video, I've tried to give you a roadmap so you don't become victims of your own biology. Don't follow the crowd, don't lie to yourselves, and never stop learning. If you manage to be just 1% less foolish each day, the accumulation of that wisdom will make you giants in a world of mental dwarfs. Rationality is a marathon, and the finish line is the peace of having lived with clarity. So, there you have my perspective, distilled and unvarnished. Don't expect the world to give you anything just for being pretty. Expect the world to punish you for every mistake you make. In this analysis, I've given you the tools to build a mental framework that will serve as both shield and sword. Now it's up to you to have the character to use it and not let it be lost to laziness. Go and seek the truth with an honesty that will frighten the mediocre. If you do this, I promise you that your life will have a solidity and prosperity that others will only be able to look upon in awe. It's been a pleasure speaking to you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I still have a few ideas to dismantle before the day is over.